The day she crossed the line. I never thought something as ordinary as a garage would turn into a full-scale war zone, but that was before she moved in. It was a quiet Saturday morning in my neighborhood just outside Austin, Texas. The kind of place where everything looks perfect. Clean sidewalks, trimmed lawns, identical houses. The kind of place where problems don't exist, at least not on the surface. I had just finished a brutal 12-hour night shift. My body felt like it was made of concrete and my eyes burned from lack of sleep. All I wanted was to park my truck, walk inside, and collapse into bed. But the second I turned into my driveway, something felt wrong. My garage door was open. I slowed down instantly. I never leave it open, ever. I'm the kind of person who double-checks everything, locks, lights, alarms. It's a habit drilled into me over the years. So why was it open now? A bad feeling crept up my spine as I pulled closer, and then I saw it. A white SUV, parked perfectly, neatly, like it belonged there. Inside my garage, for a second, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. I actually blinked a couple of times, thinking maybe exhaustion was playing tricks on me. But no, the car was real, and it definitely wasn't mine. I turned off the engine slowly and stepped out of my truck, my confusion quickly turning into anger. "Are you serious right now?" I muttered under my breath. I walked toward the garage, staring at the vehicle like it might somehow explain itself. It didn't. Instead, I heard something behind me, the sharp, deliberate sound of heels clicking against pavement. I turned, and there she was. Blonde hair styled like she just walked out of a salon, expensive sunglasses covering half her face, arms crossed like she was already annoyed, like I was the inconvenience. "Oh good, you're back," she said casually. Casually, like she hadn't just invaded my property. I needed somewhere to park. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. "You needed somewhere to park?" I repeated slowly. She nodded, completely unfazed. "Yes, the street is packed and my driveway is being redone. So I used yours, used mine, like it was public parking, like it wasn't private property." I let out a short, disbelieving laugh. "You used my garage?" I said. "You mean you broke into it?" She rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. "Oh, please." "It was open." "It wasn't open," I shot back immediately. "You opened it." She tilted her head slightly, a smirk forming on her lips. "Well, now it is." That smirk told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was intentional. Calculated, entitled. "Move your car," I said firmly. She didn't move. Didn't even hesitate. "I can't." I took a step closer, my patience already running thin. "What do you mean you can't?" "I just had it detailed," she said, like that explained everything. "I'm not risking scratches on the street." For a moment, I just stared at her, trying to decide if she was serious. She was. "You're worried about scratches," I said slowly. "After breaking into someone else's garage?" She waved her hand dismissively. "Relax, it's temporary." That word hit me wrong. Temporary. "How long is temporary?" I asked. She paused for a second, like she was doing me a favor by even thinking about it. "A few days? Maybe a week." "A week." I actually felt my jaw tighten. "You're not leaving your car in my garage for a week." She sighed, clearly annoyed now. "Why are you making this such a big deal?" I let out a sharp breath. "Because it is a big deal. This is my property. You don't get to just take it because it's convenient for you." Her expression hardened slightly. "I'm on the HOA board." There it was. The title she thought gave her power, the badge she expected me to respect. I crossed my arms. "And?" She blinked, clearly not expecting that response. "And that means I make decisions that benefit the neighborhood." "No," I said calmly. "It means you think you can do whatever you want." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You're being difficult. And you're trespassing." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The air between us felt heavy, tense. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. "If you keep this up," she said, "I can file a complaint. Aggressive behavior toward an HOA board member." I actually laughed this time, not because it was funny, but because it was ridiculous. "You break into my garage," I said, shaking my head. "And you're threatening to report me?" She shrugged. "I'm just following protocol." Protocol, right. That's when it hit me. This wasn't going to be solved with logic or reason. People like her don't care about being right. They care about winning. I looked past her, back at my garage, at that white SUV sitting there like it belonged. And in that moment, something shifted in my mind. My anger didn't disappear. It changed. It became something colder, more controlled. I smiled. Her expression softened slightly, like she thought I was finally giving in. "Fine," I said. She nodded, satisfied. "Good, I knew you'd come around." "Oh, I did," I replied quietly. Just not in the way she expected. I walked past her without another word, unlocked my front door, and stepped inside. From the window, I could still see her standing there, confident. Smug, completely convinced she had just won, that I was going to let her get away with it, that I would just accept it. But she didn't understand something. I don't argue when I already know I'm right, and I don't fight battles I can't win. Instead, I plan, carefully, patiently, and once I make a move, it's final. I glanced back at my garage one last time, at her car, at the open space she thought she had claimed. Then I reached into my pocket and pressed the button. The garage door began to close slowly. She didn't notice at first. But when she did, I crossed my arms. "And you can't just put your property in my garage." "But here we are." That shut her up for exactly 2 seconds. "I'm calling the HOA," she snapped, pulling her phone out again. I shrugged. "Go ahead." "And the police." Even better. That hesitation, just a flicker, told me everything. She hadn't thought that far. People like her throw around authority, but they panic when someone isn't afraid of it. "You think this is a joke?" she said, her voice dropping. "No," I said quietly. "I think this is a consequence." Silence. The kind that feels heavy, uncomfortable. She stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was about to say something threatening. "You have no idea who you're messing with." I almost smiled. "Actually," I said, "I do." That made her pause, and for the first time since this started, I saw uncertainty, just a hint. But it was there. I checked my watch casually. "I've got a flight in a few hours," I said. Her eyes widened. Flight?" "Yeah, work trip." "For how long?" she asked quickly. I met her gaze. 2 weeks. That's when it hit her. You could see it. The realization. The panic. The shift from anger to fear. "You're joking," she said, but her voice wasn't confident anymore. I shook my head. "Nope. You can't leave my car locked in there for 2 weeks." I shrugged lightly. "Then you probably shouldn't have parked it there." She took a step back, running a hand through her hair, trying to process. "This is illegal," she said quickly. "You can't just— This is theft." I laughed. "Is it? Because last I checked, theft involves taking something. I didn't take your car. You gave it to me when you parked it in my garage." Her mouth opened, then closed. No comeback. No argument. Just frustration building. "I have places to be," she said, her tone shifting now, less aggressive, more desperate. "I have responsibilities." I nodded. I believe that. "Then open the door." I looked at her for a long second, then shook my head. No, that one word hit harder than anything else I'd said. She wasn't used to hearing it. Not like this. Not without negotiation. Not without fear. "You're making a huge mistake," she warned. "Maybe," I said, "but not as big as yours." She looked like she wanted to scream. Instead, she pointed at me, her hand shaking slightly. "I will make your life miserable when you get back." I smiled faintly. "Get in line." That's when she lost it. "You're unbelievable," she shouted. "Do you know how much that car is worth?" I shrugged. More than a conversation, apparently. She stared at me like she couldn't decide whether to yell or cry. "I'm giving you one last chance," she said, her voice tight. "Open the garage, now." I stepped back toward the door. "No," and then I went inside and locked it. An hour later, I was upstairs packing my bag. Calm, focused, like nothing unusual had happened. But outside? Chaos. She had called someone, probably other HOA members. 2 different cars had pulled up. I watched from the window as she explained everything. Waving her arms, pointing at my house like I was some kind of criminal. They knocked on my door. I didn't answer. They called my phone. I ignored it.